You've probably heard this many times before. The US locks people up at a higher rate than any other country in the world. But did you know that more than half of those behind bars are parents to minors? In other words, more than 5 million children in the US have had a parent who cared for them go to jail or prison, and these kids can carry significant scars with them into adulthood.
Children serve time too, so when their parents are incarcerated, the parents aren't the only one who are feeling that effect. It is a ripple effect. Their families, their kids are feeling that, and not only in the time that they're incarcerated, but for generations.
Dr. Heard-Garris just published a study describing what these scars may look like. She and her colleagues analyzed national survey data from over 13,000 young adults. 10% had a parent incarcerated during their childhood, and compared to their peers, they grew up more likely to forgo necessary medical care, use drugs, and engage in risky sexual behaviors.
So if you go from having a mother and a father to working to just one, then all of a sudden you've got a financial strain, and that could plummet a family into poverty. And poverty in and of itself can be a huge barrier to seeking health care and to maintaining good health long term.
So it's not just that they're being raised by a single parent, it's that one of the parents is behind bars. Does that make the context even worse for these children?
I do think it's different depending on why the parent was separated from the child. If they were divorced versus they were incarcerated, there's a lot of stigma and shame around incarceration, so that may lead parents not willing to open up and say, my husband was incarcerated, my boyfriend was incarcerated, my father was incarcerated, to really seek the support they need.
The study found young adults whose fathers had been incarcerated while they were minors were more likely to use hard drugs and watch more than 50 hours of TV a week than young adults whose parents hadn't been incarcerated. Those whose mothers had been incarcerated were more likely to have sex in exchange for money, skip doctor visits, and use the emergency department as their usual source of health care.
I definitely was surprised. One of my main thoughts was that if a mom was incarcerated, that would somehow be worse than having a father incarcerated. That was just my general bias.
Previous research found that young adults with a history of parental incarceration have higher rates of depression, PTSD, asthma, and HIV. Heard-Garris hopes that by revealing the more specific unhealthy behaviors that these individuals demonstrate later in life, her study can help mitigate them as early as possible.
How do you think you and your colleagues should treat these young people that come to you once you know that they have had a parent that's been incarcerated?
Many of us are probably not asking because we don't know how, and we don't know that it's important. So I think even before that, we should identify. We should ask, hey, where's mom today or dad today if we don't know? Trying to normalize it, because unfortunately, a lot of people are dealing with incarceration in their family. And maybe we can be the facilitators of groups to start support groups or networks within our clinics and our hospitals and our communities.
I have to also think of this issue from the point of view of law enforcement. I think a lot of people would say, well, we're not going to be softer on someone who's committed a crime just because they have children.
We're not talking about being softer on crime. I think what we're talking about is examining policies that impact people differently. And if everything needs to be something that is punishable by being behind bars, or there are other mechanisms to service and rehabilitation that can take place outside of the walls of a prison or jail. Because like we've seen, that they have ripple impacts on generations to come. And also create opportunities and resources so people don't need to resort to crime and they're not caught in the system and they can't get out.